Everyone knows the moment when you walk out of a doctor's office after receiving a diagnosis, and you stand there in the parking lot and you think, okay, now what? All week long, we're answering that question with 5 simple steps for the most common health issues. Today, 5 things to do when your doctor says you have inflammation. Inflammation, you've heard that word. Joining us now is functional medicine expert, Dr. Stacey Stevenson. She's also a certified nutrition specialist and author of Vibrant. Thanks for being here. So walk us through what inflammation means to you.
Well, remember, inflammation is kind of a scary thing, right? Today, we often think about chronic inflammation, right? And that's our body's normal protective response, which is very tricky. I think it's confusing when we go to our doctor's office and get this big diagnosis. Chronic inflammation, you know, occurs when say you break a bone. You break a bone, right? It's swollen, it's red, it hurts. That's inflammation. But today, we're talking about chronic inflammation. That's different than the acute inflammation from breaking your bone. That's your body fighting against stress and processed foods and environmental toxins, and it just pushes and pushes and tries and tries and tries against these perceived assaults. But it's kind of like if your car engine were running for years, the car would get exhausted and it would wear out. Well, your body just wears out.
And it's exhausting for a lot of reasons. Come on over. Let me bring us alive with a little illustration. When the engine starts to wear out, as you described, you get inflammation. That's the key concept that a lot of doctors now are finally waking up to. And it shows up in all kinds of ways in your body, which is why you'll get this diagnosis a lot. So, for example, you'll get fatigue and brain fog. Fatigue being the #1 concern that you guys, all the viewers, are telling me you have these days, right? Next thing you get is body pains. Aches and pains you never would have expected, even when you don't do anything. Or you can get depressed, get a little anxiety. It's pretty bad already with COVID, but it gets even worse if you're inflamed. By the way, inflammation puts you at super risk of having complications from COVID. Then you'll start developing issues with your belly, right? Bloating, you'll get weight gain, which is another problem with your belly. But here's the thing. You sometimes will get weight gain, or you might get weight loss, because inflammation can cause so much of a problem that you don't even eat. You can't process the food. You can even get things like acne and other skin disorders, and you just can't figure it out. But interestingly, you argue that getting a diagnosis of inflammation might be good news in a way, because at least you know what's going down. You
know what's going on. Imagine trying to go at all of these symptoms. You walk into your doctor with your list. It's terrible. And you think, how can I affect each of these? But what if the diagnosis were inflammation? Now that's a big, scary word, right? But it's not, because the inflammation is at the root cause of each of these symptoms. And what if you could work on those by removing the inflammation and feeling better?
Yeah, if you got a root cause diagnosis, as opposed to 15 different pills to take for 15 different problems.
Exactly.
And they were all related to the same basic issue. All right, let's get to solutions. 5 things you can do. The first is to incorporate a daily anti-inflammatory smoothie every morning. This is the one drink you say you have every single day, and it's helping you. So what's in it?
I do, and I think it's excellent to have a drink every day because it's a routine, and you can do it every day. Imagine trying to get all of these wonderful fruits and vegetables and spices all day long. Huge loads of food. It would be like a mountain of greens and a mountain of berries. You probably do this sometimes.
It's got a little punch to it.
It's got a little punch to it. It's got a little punch to it because the cayenne. Cayenne is anti-inflammatory. Maybe we just need to add a little sweetener. I don't know.
No, it's
remember,
good, actually.
You've got your berries. You all know about your berries. You've got your excellent green leafies. You've got your spices, though, and that's what you're tasting. You're tasting that anti-inflammatory cayenne, a little cacao for some antioxidant and nice flavor, your matcha, and then you have your cinnamon and ginger, highly anti-inflammatory as well, a little bit of mint leaves for a bit of flavor, your almond milk, and you always want to have your protein powder.
What is the most inflammatory food we eat as a people?
The most inflammatory food is sugar. Now, when you think of inflammation, remember, inflammation is like a forest fire going on in your body, and it's just going unchecked. But sugar, unfortunately, is like adding gasoline onto that forest fire. So get rid of it as much as you can.
Well, speaking of sugar, for example, sodas have a lot of sugar. If you wanted to get rid of soda, what do you replace it with? When your doctor says you have inflammation, swap out that soda for turmeric tea. Turmeric helps with inflammation and has other benefits as well. So explain what you've got here.
Turmeric is my #1 anti-inflammatory food. And in fact, when you have dried, concentrated turmeric, which is this one, it is more powerful than the whole herb itself. So this is something that's right in your kitchen. It's like nature's ibuprofen. It's so anti-inflammatory.
So we can get the root, but the other option is it's much easier too. Buy it dried like this. It also stores quite nicely. And what else are you mixing it with here?
And we've got cinnamon and ginger as well, highly anti-inflammatory. We've got our tea. Let's see how this one shouldn't be as spicy.
No, this is a little easier. A little easier. I'm sure you'd probably put cayenne. The cayenne matches your hair, you know.
Well, thank you.
Have
That's why I
thought
like
about
it. Yeah, that's why I like it.
And you can add honey if you need to.
Please add the honey. I know I made it sound like sugar is the devil. It's not the devil. We have sweet receptors on our tongue for a reason, right? Add a little honey to taste. I hear you're into honeybees.
I have honeybees. I love the honey they make. But I think honey, for many reasons, it's the oldest medicine we know. But this actually tastes so good. You don't have to add much honey. Yeah, it's got a nice little layer to it. What is the single most important supplement in your life for reducing inflammation?
Number one for me is cold water fish oil. Should be mercury-free. You'll see it in your supermarkets. You'll see it in your healthful food stores. Sometimes it will read EPA, DHA. That's what you want. It might say fish oil, and watch for the mercury-free.
All right, the next thing you want to do to reduce inflammation is make a ginger paste, which can be a go-to in your kitchen. It's easy to make, and Potluck's Ali Rosen is going to show you how.